Welcome in to Tiny Musings with T. I am T from Tiny Divinations, here with part two of our June collective reading. In part two, we'll go over our mini focuses, discussing our career and finances, our love and relationships, and what we should be focused on in terms of self growth and spirituality. We'll talk about the fairy tale that relates the most to this month, that relate to our energy cards from part one, and we'll talk about the working for our practitioners that may make the most sense this month. So get comfortable and let's get into the rest of our reading. Welcome back, y'all. We are in part two of our June collective. I am so happy you are here. Thank you for coming back. If you are coming from part one, if you haven't already listened to part one, you may want to pause this and go listen to that, or listen to this one and then listen to that one. It is your choice, however you choose to listen. I just ask that you listen. So in the background, we have our tiny shuffled playlist playing. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not, but if not, and you would like to, you are more than welcome to find the tiny shuffled playlist for 2026 on Apple Music or Spotify. Every song that was on while I shuffled our cards and pulled our cards for this month is in that playlist. And for every month when I shuffle and pull our cards, the songs that randomly play in the background, I take them, I put them on a playlist for you to use, for you to play the songs, for you to find new music, for you to use it for shufflemancy, for you to kind of feel into the energy of the month. Whatever you like to use it for, it is there for you. So, as I said, we're going to get into our mini focuses in this episode. We'll also talk about the working that we have for the month and the fairy tales that relate to the energy cards that we had in part one. So, if you would like to see the cards we got for any of the mini focuses that we'll be talking about, or the cards we had for the energy cards, then definitely check out the episode link. If you go to show notes, you can click episode website and you can see the gallery with all the cards that we got for this month. And before we get into the episode, I want to let y'all know I am currently having a sale on my 75-minute reading. We are having a summer sale. When you go on the site, it actually doesn't put the discount in until you put it in checkout. I'm going to try to fix that. But yeah, if you would like your own personal reading with me, definitely go to wildheartbotanica.com. I would love to read with you, get you some insight, get you some information, connect you with your people. So let's read if you would like to read, especially because it's on sale. But anyway, let's get into part two. So the cards that we have are transformation, time, and growth. The transformation card has a butterfly on it. The time card has an hourglass, and the growth card has a spiral. So our focus this month in terms of our career and our finances seems to do with movement, moving from one place to another, moving from one phase to another. We want to take off. You have the wings and the butterfly and the transformation. We want movement. We have movement in the spiral on the growth card. We also have the movement of the shifting sands in an hourglass. And so part of our focus this month involves moving from one place to another, or shifting the foundation, or shifting the look of something. In all these cards, you also have very distinct phases, right? So with the time card, you turn the hourglass and you have the space between when the sands move and when it's finished. In the transformation, you have the butterfly, and so you have the space between the caterpillar and the butterfly, right? You have the cocoon phase, and you have all these things that happen between the beginning and the end, right? And the same thing with growth. You start as one thing, a seed, something small, and then you have all of this that happens within the span of growing until you get to, the ultimate stage of growth, right? And so within all of these different phases in these cards, it speaks to me about us really recognizing the phase that we are in in terms of our career and our finances this month, and really like embrace these places. You want to get from beginning to end. You want to get to where you're trying to go, or to get to your ultimate goal. And there's beauty in the phases, there's beauty in the transformation, there's beauty in the growing and lessons in all of what's happening, right? And there's also the idea of embracing the moment so that you can really savor what's happening and recognize what it is, so that you can carry that through once you're in the quote unquote end, or once you've received what you want, right? So that also is a big part of the cards that we have for our mini focuses for this month, and a big part of, in terms of the evolution, for some people, this month is about surrendering to the changes that are happening, or surrendering to the opportunities that are happening, the opportunity to grow as a person, the new opportunities that have come to you that you may not have expected, that you may not be sure if you want to take. Surrendering to evolving, and the evolving needs and beliefs that you have, and what that means for you in terms of your current career and your current financial situation and your financial trajectory, right? Like, in terms of, if you've recognized that you actually want different things out of life than what your current situation can give you, if you actually thought wealth looked like one thing and now you feel like it looks like something else, that also could be part of it. And like I said, surrendering to the things that are already happening around you that may be out of your control, that may be for some people things that you didn't necessarily see happening, or you're not sure what to do with. But because it's happening, it may be something that you need to lean into, or to flow, with, and just see where it's kind of taking. I said the wealth could look different, but that also could look like a different career path, or wanting to expand your skills, wanting to expand out by yourself, or, something different from the things that you're currently doing in terms of your career and your finance. For others, and also it's about taking the time to act, right? To figure out how you're being called to evolve, where you're being asked to leave outdated aspects of your job, or your beliefs about work, or your beliefs about money, where you need to shift and alter the structures or the situations that you're in, or that you've built, or that you found yourself in. Like I said before, you could be somebody who wants to change your job or career. You want to change what you have coming in. You want to change the amount of streams of income that you have, anything like that. And the energy that you give to what you want this month is what you get out of it, right? So if you're looking for something new, if you put in the energy to actually look for it, to, look for places, look for things that align with you, to put feelers out there in terms of networking, then you'll get that energy back, and in alignment with whatever it is in terms of your personal career and finances that you are, looking to evolve to, or how you're looking to grow or transform. The shifts can feel really big, and you can feel these shifts internally, or you can feel them externally. And it feels like, because we have all of this movement energy, and we have the phase energy of all three cards, that the movement isn't necessarily quick, right? It's not fast, it's not rapid. It feels like process, which is what all these cards are going and flowing through: process and phase. And so even though you're putting in the work, right, you may not see great big returns, but know that it's coming. Know that you're putting in that work, because those returns are meant to come and flow back to you. And the TLDR of this section is really to surrender to where you're being moved, and do what you feel is being asked of you for that direction, right? And if you don't know, then in that moment, what's being asked of you is to figure it out, right? But that's the flow of it. It's like, okay, I moved over here, I don't know what to do next, maybe I should sit and think. Maybe I should sit and wait for a sign. Maybe, blah, blah, blah. You then move from there. Okay, I have this. Now I go from there. And then, you just do the next normal thing to do, right? In terms of how it would look if you flow in where you're being taken and what that requires of you. And then just continue to do that in every step of that. Okay. That's kind of the real work in terms of our focus for our career and our finances this month. So I hope that that makes sense to y'all. Please let me know. Okay. Let's get into our love and relationships. Moving into our love and relationship mini focus, we have our cards. Again, you can see the cards on the episode website link in the show notes. The cards we have are using you. Stop. Maybe I have some ulterior motives. Do you think I might be taking advantage of you? Ghosted. Broken heart. Empty bubble. Spiritual with two doves. I love how aligned we are in our beliefs and core values. We can really grow together. Friend zone. Broken heart. I think we're better off just being friends. And laughter. Doves. Nobody makes me laugh the way you do. So when I pulled the cards, the way that they look like they panned out to me is that the using you ghosted friend zone card was kind of like one subset, and then you had the spiritual laughter. And then to an extent, the first line kind of goes together. And then I just have like the laughter and the friend zone, which made sense to me also going together with certain aspects. So um, it was interesting how you could kind of segment the cards. This is the Neon Love Oracle deck. And in this deck, the cards each have different symbols on them. There's like groups of symbols, and they all relate to different things. And so I'm just going to go over the symbols real quick. So we have a stop sign, red flags, secrets, deception. You're advised to slow down or even walk away. We have two broken hearts, incompatibilities, tension, obstacles, and disharmony, short term relationships. And then we have lovebirds, compatibility, harmony, alignment, positive aspects of connection. So, based on some of the things that we see in the symbols that we have on each card, these are some of the things we're going to be dealing with in our relationships, in our love lives this month. So, again, because we have two broken hearts, there may be issues with incompatibility. There may be tensions, obstacles, disharmony. You may recognize that a situation you're in is more short term than you first expected it to be. You may get ghosted. You may ghost someone else. You may feel that the relationship is more of a friend relationship than it is romantic. You may start to feel out of alignment with your friends. You may feel that there are like situations or people that are bringing you down more than they are bringing you joy or bringing you lightness or laughter. Like when you're around them, you feel worse than you did before, or like it doesn't bring any levity to the situation where it may have before. And also with the stop card, we have the using card. And so there may be situations where we see red flags with people. We receive information about people or situations that we didn't know before. We recognize that people are lying or being deceptive or latching onto you for, not good reasons, or it's not a reciprocal relationship, like they're just taking more from you than they're actually giving to the relationship, or something like that. These cards and this side of the reading really speaks to the focus of release that we have this month in terms of our love and relationships, the focus of recognition as well, recognition of what and who isn't real, whose intentions aren't what they made them out to be, who may not understand you, or vice versa, who you may not understand, who may not fit what you need, who you may be trying to fit into something in their life that isn't exactly what they need. All of these things is kind of what we're sitting with this month, as well as the other side of it with the spiritual and the laughter is the alignment of the things that do, right? The alignment of the things that fit your core beliefs and your values, the alignment of the people that feel like lightness and joy and love and light and nurturing, and the recognition of the in between of these things, and really sitting with what is and what isn't. With our two heartbreak cards, it definitely says that there are people that may have some hurts this month, some situations that don't work out, some people who disappear altogether. There may be some situations that come up that were in this vein where you were ghosted, that where you really like someone and you were put in the friend zone, or vice versa, that come back into play, like situations that aren't necessarily happening right now but somehow come back up. Maybe you see the person again, maybe they come back into mind, something reminds you of it, you're sitting with what happened, or like those emotions come up, things like that. With the spiritual card, it may also be the recognition that, like I said before, somebody that you're talking to may be somebody that is not exactly aligned with you. You may have different beliefs on things or understanding of what you want from life versus what they want from life. Your values ultimately may be different. And again, because you have the friend zone card, it may not be that this is like a terrible person and you just want nothing to do with them. You may still want this person in your life. You may want to still have them there in some capacity or deal with them in some way. But there's this recognition that the person that you ultimately want in terms of partnership is somebody that would be more aligned in certain ways that this person isn't. With the using card, you may realize that somebody is there for not so good reasons. There may be people that are using your kindness for weakness. It may be that people aren't listening to you, people aren't considering you. You may feel like people aren't abiding by your boundaries, people are pushing your boundaries, people are disregarding your boundaries altogether. There may be people that don't keep their word, again, with that ghosting card, people who are moving in self serving or manipulative ways, just things that you recognize that are counter to what you're trying to cultivate in relationships, whether they're platonic or romantic, or that they're harmful to you. And with the last two cards that we have, spiritual and laughter, we can see what you're ultimately looking for and the things that you want to have more of. And so, again, within the energies that we had for the month in general, a flow and move towards what you're directed towards, move towards the things that align you with the spiritual card and the laughter card, the things that align you with the energies of the lovebirds card, which is compatibility and harmony and alignment, positive aspects of connection. And so if you're feeling that way, then move towards that. But if you're recognizing that some of these other signs are the things that are coming up, then it's a recognition that it's moving you out of alignment with compatibility and harmony and positive aspects of connection, and that you need to move away from that so that you can get back in alignment with the things that you really want. So this is what we have for our love and relationship focus for June. Let's move into our self-growth and spirituality. So moving into our self-growth and spirituality mini focus for June. The cards that we have are spirituality, rage, what are you angry about? How does this anger point you in the direction of priorities that need attention? Whether it's because they have shifted, need protecting, or ask to be revisited. And then rest. Okay, so with these cards, let's talk about spiritual rage and spiritual rest. Because when I pulled these cards, this is what came up for me in terms of what we should be focused on or what we may be focused on for our self growth and spirituality in the month of June. All right, so starting with spirituality. Spirituality is the quality or fact of being spiritual. It's incorporeal or immaterial in nature, meaning that it can't be held or quantified in matter. But that means that although it can't be held or quantified, it doesn't make it any less real. Okay. And like I said, when I pulled these cards, it made me think of the spirituality within rage and the spirituality within rest. So I really want to talk about this and kind of break down these concepts a little bit. And one of the things that I found was this article by Octavia Brown on the Urban Institute of Mental Health. And I pulled these cards. I started to write down what I was thinking, what was coming through, what I felt like we needed to work on. And then after, I actually found this article, and it really helped expand on what I was thinking and validate a lot of what I had already said. And so I linked the article in the show notes if you'd like to see it. And I'm going to read a little bit from the article about the definition of sacred rage. Sacred rage is the divine, purposeful anger that arises in the face of oppression, violation, and injustice. It is not reactive rage meant to hurt or humiliate. It is the anger that comes from clarity, from alignment with truth. It is the inner voice, the inner warrior, the ancestral protector, the soul crying, no more. It is a fury that says, I will not shrink myself to be loved. I will not carry what is not mine to hold. I will not let this legacy of harm continue through me. So, with that definition in mind, and with that understanding, and if you don't get it or you need to hear it again, go back, play it again, and then come back. But with that understanding, I want you to think, what are you angry about? Whether that's for yourself, whether that's for what you inherited, I really want you to think about this question. And then once you have the answers, I want you to let it out, break it down, release it, speak it. This is how we get through this sacred rage. This is how we use this rage's power. This is how we break curses, right? How does this anger now point you in the direction of priorities that need attention? How does it define the things you need to say no to? And that's whether it's because things have shifted, things need protecting, or things need to go. And this is something I really want y'all to sit with, okay? This is in the name of redirecting, in the vein of deserving. This is reclaiming your time and your transformation. This is alchemy, okay, and transmutation. And not all of this anger and this rage and these feelings are your own, but they are yours to change. Going back to the article, I want to read a few of the key aspects of sacred rage. It's rooted in love. Though it may be fiery, sacred rage is born from love for the self, for the collective, for the earth, for justice. It seeks to protect, restore, and reclaim what has been harmed. It is ancestral and spiritual. Sacred rage is often intergenerational. It may carry the unspoken cries of ancestors, the rage of those who were enslaved, colonized, erased, or silenced. It is a spiritual inheritance that demands truth and reparation. It serves as a catalyst for transformation. Sacred rage is not about destruction for destruction's sake. It is the fire that purifies the storm that clears the way. It calls for change, for justice, for liberation, both internally and externally. It is embodied and liberating. Sacred rage often lives in the body through tight throats, clenched jaws, tense shoulders. When expressed and channeled consciously, it can be deeply liberating and healing. It's a way of reclaiming space, voice, and power. It's not ego driven. It doesn't seek revenge. Sacred rage is not about domination or control. It's about truth telling, accountability, and realignment with what is sacred and right. Okay, so that is part of what we are focused on for self growth and in terms of our spirituality this month. And these are things that I would really, really, really encourage y'all to sit with and work through and embrace. Okay. With that said, moving into spiritual rest. Spiritual rest is similar to spiritual rage in that it's ancestral, it's compounded. It may not have a specific catalyst in the moment, but it's felt physically and emotionally all the same. Spiritual rest is reframing. It's about looking at rest as not only necessary, but deserved. And it's about knowing that rest is your priority as well as your privilege. This can look like calming your body, calming your mind, connecting with and nourishing your spirit more. It's about reconnecting with and reclaiming ease and calm and peace, and knowing that that is your birthright to have, and wanting to embody and embrace this and bring more of this into your life in the ways that you can, and to no longer imagine that these are just small rewards that you're supposed to get at the end of something. Both your sacred and spiritual rage and your sacred and spiritual rest are things that you can use to help transform and alchemize the things that you really want in life. And even now, what's playing in the background is Yes Coins by Tony Jones, which is a affirmation song that's on our Tiny Shuffle playlist for June. So just another validation of what we can have. It wasn't even playing when I was doing it, but it's playing right now. So this is what we have for our self growth and spirituality focus for the month. Um, let's move into the best working for the month. So speaking of Yes Coins with Tony Jones, the working that we have that is best for this month is actually money workings. So it's funny because I went to my PDF library. I have a couple hundred books on my phone, and I have a few magical texts. I have a few different collections. One of them is magical texts. I went to that. I bibliomancy, so I closed my eyes. I just scrolled, picked a book, and this book is a PDF that I downloaded who the fuck knows when, but there's no title, there's no cover to this. It's just a whole bunch of workings and and herbs, and I don't even know if I've ever even used this, but I think it's one of the things that I downloaded when I first got into things. And the workings that we have for this month are money oils. Now, I am giving the working based on what's given on the page. Please do this based on your own practice, your mind, your intuition. Take things to your people, your spiritual team, take it to your altar, change it as you see fit. Do with it as you will, or use it just as the theme itself. So like if you don't want to do anything that it says, you can actually just say, okay, but this is just letting me know this month I should definitely do some money workings. Okay. So, money oils. Money oils are a very useful tool in keeping your money that you have now and keeping new money coming in. For example, this person went to the casino a few months back and anointed their change purse with myrrh oil before going in. When they left, they hadn't really gained any money, but they didn't lose anything either. For the most part, they broke even. There are all different types of money oils: money drops, money mist, money drawing, money house blessings, and business. For the most part, they can all be used for the same things, though some have more specific intent. Money mist works kind of like the myrrh oil. It's meant to protect what you have and attract what you need. These can all be used with a green candle to attract money and can be rubbed on wallets, purses, and entrances to stores and businesses to attract customers. These oils, in combination with different incense like bayberry and some powders and such, can be spells all by themselves. Play around with them and see what works for you. Just remember that any magical working is only as good as the heart and emotion that you put in it. And at the bottom, we have to help pay debts. Take a key to a strong box and go to a country crossroads at midnight during the full moon. Lay the key in the middle of the crossroad and walk in a circle around it 3 times to the left and 3 times to the right, chanting, "Forces around me, take pity on my foolishness and grant me a second chance to unlock my future and unburden me." Take the key home and put it onto your key ring. Now, in terms of the last one, I would not exactly do that. Again, if it is in your mind and your practice to do that, then definitely go do that, baby. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. And I work with the crossroad man, and I don't know if I would do that. That's just that's just me. But I put it there because it's to help pay debts, right? And so again, to me, the whole idea of me bibliomancing and getting this specific page is to let us know that there are some money workings that need to be done. Again, yes, coins is still playing in the background. One of the things she said in the song just now is, "Me and lack is seemingly a joke. It's humanly impossible." Okay, like, so this is definitely some energy that we want to work with, right? In terms of what they talked about, the money oils, yes, all about the money oils, money drawing powders, money drawing incense, right? Like they talked about, you can use it to bring in, to keep what you have, to keep a steady flow of things, to bring in business, to bring in customers, to bring in certain types of customers, to help you get money to invest, to help you get gifts, like all kind of things can be used in terms of doing money works. In terms of some herbs and things I can think of off the top of my head, cedar is a money drawing wood or herb. You can use chamomile to bring in money. Chamomile you can actually put in like your hand soap, because washing your hands with chamomile is supposed to bring you money. And so putting in your hand soap can be a good one. Comfrey is a good herb to bring in money. Guinea peppers are good for luck. Fenugreek is good for luck. These are just a few things I can think of off the top of my head. One of the things I've been wanting to do lately is honey is something that's good for sweetening, that you can also add to bring in, money and good things. But honey can be kind of slow. And so one of the things I've been thinking about doing lately is adding chili oil in to my honey, and to do a working where I add in the chili oil and kind of quicken things up. Chili is also protecting. So there are just a few things I can think of off the top of my head that you can add in to attract things, to bring in some of that wealth. If you want to make like a money drawing oil yourself, you can definitely always go and get one. They talked about working with green candles. I've also worked with orange candles for money workings. Um, you can work with what you have. You can work with a white candle, or a black, and put your intention into it. It depends on your practice. In terms of planets, Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and so it'll expand what you're doing. Venus is a planet of foundationally what you have, material things like that. So those are good planets to use. um but yeah, those are some of the things I can just think of off the top of my head. But this would definitely be a good time to do money workings to um, remove debts, workings to bring in more, workings to draw customers, workings to keep your flow. In terms of the working that they gave at what essentially would be the crossroads, I would just say, like I said before, I would not do that specifically, especially if you have not worked with crossroads before. In my mind, if you feel like that's fine for you, then you do what you feel called to do. Again, go to your spiritual team, ask, right? But as somebody who works with the Crossroads Man, I would not suggest that you just go asking for things necessarily without having or forming a relationship with those spirits first. This is just my advice, what I think, you know what I'm saying? Heed it, take it, do what you will, baby. Okay. And if y'all do some money workings this month, definitely let me know if y'all are willing to share what you've done or what you're thinking. Definitely put it in the chat and the comments. I would love to hear how much money y'all get. If anybody wants to share anything, your little donation, baby, you know what I'm saying? Um, Tiny LLC on Cash App and Venmo. But anyway, I'm just saying. But definitely do something, do some works, even saying a petition or a prayer, like anything just as simple as that will help you call in, more. And why not call in more? Who don't want more? Everybody wants more. I want more. Y'all know y'all want more. You deserve more. Even if you feel like you don't, you do. So why not get it? So again, that was our spiritual working for the month. Let's move into our fairy tales. Getting into our fairy tale for the month. So, every month we have our energy cards, which we talk about in part one. Those cards come from the Tarot of the Divine deck, and all of the cards in that deck have a related fairy tale, which they put in a companion book called Beneath the Moon. So I go through the cards, I go through the stories, and I pick a story that I feel like relates to the themes of our month or something we have going on the most. And we talk about that story. We talk a little bit about the research I do, and we'll talk a little bit about how this card and the other cards relate to our month. So, in the western part of Anatolia, there once lay a kingdom called Phrygia. Legend says that at the time the Phrygians were without a king. So the oracle, Telmesius, told the people that the next man to enter the capital driving an ox cart should become king. The people agreed, and when a farmer, Gordius, entered on an ox cart, they declared him king. The city was named Gordium, and Gordius's son, Midas, who would later become King Midas of the Golden Touch, dedicated the ox cart to Zeus. Midas tied the cart to a post with a giant and intricate knot that was so complicated and so entangled it was impossible to see how it was fastened. It was called the Gordian knot. Generations passed, and Phrygia was no longer its own country, but a province of Achaemenid, or Persian Empire. In this time, a new oracle prophesied that whoever could unravel the Gordian knot would be destined to become the ruler of all of Asia. The knot sat impossibly tangled until the arrival of Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great was born to the king of Macedonia, Philip II, and his wife, Olympias. His father was assassinated when Alexander was 20, and he became the king of Macedonia shortly after. He then consolidated his power and was awarded the generalship of Greece. He took his huge army, pushed it into the Achaemenid Empire, and won neighboring lands Sardis and Caria before taking Gordium. Arriving in his newly conquered city, Alexander found the cart still tied to the post with the giant impossible knot. And though Alexander tried, he could not untangle the giant mess. Finally, Alexander stepped back and reasoned that it made no difference how the knot was loosened, just that the cart was freed. He drew his sword and sliced the rope in half with a single stroke. Alexander went on to fulfill the prophecy, conquering Asia as far as the Indus and Oxus, and living forever as one of the greatest generals in all of history. And that was the story of Alexander and the Great Gordian Knot that is related to the Ace of Swords. Getting into the research, from what I could see, the story is from 333 BC. It is used as a metaphor for being inventive or having ways to solve things that are unexpected, or like being able to solve a really intricate problem. In terms of the story, there were the one case where it said that there was the intricate knot. There was another interpretation that said that the knot may have been held by a linchpin that was actually holding all of the knots, I guess, together of the rope. There's also interpretations that say that the knot may have been a religious knot that was guarded by priest or priestess and may have symbolized the name of Dionysus, which was too big to be spoken. Um, may draw some parallels to another god. You know what I mean? But anyway. So that may also have been the what the knot was an epitome of, or what the knot was in other versions of the story. Outside of that, like I said, it was mostly about the idea that the fable or the story is about being able to um, find, you know, innovative ways to do things, not giving up on a challenge, being able to move through things that feel hard, being able to be bold and decisive in your actions, in your thinking, and your ability to solve things that seem unsolvable, so to speak. So, all of that came in terms of the research. And the reason that I picked this story was because the stories that we had this month were very similar in a sense. But this one I felt like got most to the heart of what we talked about in terms of a lot of the themes of this month, which was your action, your decision making, you deciding what to do, you deciding where to go from here, and then you putting in the work, putting in the planning to, make those things happen. It's also about recognizing that you're not lost, and that, again, with the flow and the surrender that we talked about, that you're being moved to a specific place for a reason. Okay. And if that's the case, then there is an answer here. You may not know that answer in that moment, but that doesn't mean that there isn't an answer. It may mean that you just need to step back and look at the problem more carefully, or look at it in a different way or with new eyes, or that you need to just sit for a second, because the phase that you're in is not getting to the end and cutting the knot, but the contemplation of how you do that. The story of Mawendo, which is related to the Page of Wands, is similar to the story of the Ace of Swords in that he goes through a number of different trials and different things, and he has to figure out what kind of ruler he wants to be relative to who his father was, and then what that means. And ultimately, that leads him on a journey. And, at the end, he gets what he wants. He has to, like I said, go through a few trials, but he's able to sit on his throne and, have his father in the capacity that he wants him, and have everything kind of laid out the way that he wants it. But again, it was a matter of him having faith, because he had the magical aspect to him and his story, as well as the works that he was moving through. And we talked about that in the last month's cards in May. There was a faith without works is dead kind of energy, right? And again, we're still in this phase. Speaking of phases and cycles, we're still in that phase this month, but with the recognition of a more so why and where, and what that looks like in terms of what we need to do. Okay. The hangman's story is Sleeping Beauty, And the story that's related to the Hierophant is the White Buffalo Woman. So those are the fairy tales that we have for the month of June and how I feel like they relate to what we have going on this month. And that was part 2 of our reading, y'all. So thank you so much for being here with me. I appreciate y'all so much. Please let me know how your month is. Please let me know how these things resonate, how they make sense, what goes on. If you would like your own reading, again, I'm having a sale right now. So book with me at wildheartbotanica.com. I have the 75-minute reading, which is the one that is on sale, but we have other options. If you are already following me on YouTube, follow me on YouTube at Tiny Divinations. I do a weekly reading and we do other one-off readings as well as celebrity readings, have other discussions. If you're not already following this podcast, follow me here wherever you're listening. Tiny Musings. We have our monthly collective readings, part 1 and 2. I have other one-off readings. We have our prediction episode that came out not too long ago. So definitely subscribe, listen to that, share this with somebody who needs a word. And yeah, thank y'all again for being here with me. I appreciate you so, so much. I will see you next month's reading.